Testing, testing. Hopefully everyone can hear me. What's going on, traders? And welcome back to our third official week of the trading year in 2026. I'm Antoine Farrell back with another trading video with Digital Goatz Academy, and today is our weekly review. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and focus on the currency pairs that I'm mainly going to be looking at this entire week, and then just go over what happened this previous week. So, first being GBP USD. Like I said, we will talk about a couple of currency pairs since I feel like the market's made up its mind on its direction, right? So, here I have right now is GBP USD, right? So, last week it made a sell move after buying up. Is this Sunday? Yeah, a sell move after buying up. So Sunday, it gapped down slightly. I do remember that. And then by Monday, it brought us all the way back up to that consolidation to basically create support. Now, what I've mentioned and like with my community is that in the past we've seen this specifically on the buy side where you'll see the market come back and test like either 100% of the consolidation pattern. If this was a buy, this we're looking for sells, but I'm just showing you the resemblance of it that you can find the same thing, sort of kind of within the buy side of the market. I've seen it more common on the buy side, so that's why I was kind of, a little bit confused seeing it happen on the sell side. But basically, this is your formal structure, 2 points of contact if you're just being simplistic about it. But what we were looking at is that there was consolidation. Price tested this excuse me. Price tested this consolidation a little bit deeper than what we expected on the buy side and then brought the market down. So what we're looking at is probably a possible continuation. As you can see, it was choppy like this entire week. This is where the gap was at. Like I said, I'll always try to annotate where those gaps are at. That's not important anymore. Nor is this. So this was that floor that I did think that the market, I think I mentioned that in my weekly review where I believed that at one point, well, no, I said it correctly that GU was selling, but basically going into the week, price obviously manipulated us or basically just created its pullback areas. So that's what I think just, took place this prior week is that price was trying to find structure. It found structure for the year. So we just have to see how this downtrend is gonna, form. If price is gonna try to push back up here, or if it's continuous momentum throughout the year. I want to say that it's probably going to continue its momentum. This looks like a bear pattern that we see quite often. Now, what it could do is that it could dip down, break in this floor, and then decide to come back up. But we'll have to see. But as far as like bears being in the market, I think, like I said last week, the story's pretty clear on that. So we just have to follow the trend and just see if this is where a price is breaking out at, or if it's going to start ranging in the zone before it actually figure out what it wants to do. Like I said, we are at a current support that was slightly broken, but we'll just have to see how the market opens up today at 5 p.m. So that's it for GBP USD. Like I said, I don't really go too much into detail on what my expectations are because that's more so reserved for market forecasts, but I'll give you all a glimpse of what, I'm kind of thinking about what the market is doing overall. So next one I'm gonna do is US 30 and S&P, of course. Let's start with S&P actually. So last week, continuation of the bull run, not surprised there at this point. I was surprised a little bit, but we put ourselves in the correct direction, and this is basically the move that the market is trying to show us which should continue the rest of the year, but we do have to be open-minded to like any reaction that could happen around April going into Q2. So, I mean, well, it would be going into Q3, but towards the end of Q2. But any reaction during April? Remember, we had our reaction in April after the market created those bear moves last year because of the tariffs that Trumps were just throwing out, like Oprah giving out cars, right? You get a tariff, you get a tariff, you get a tariff, right? That's exactly what was going on last year. So again, I had already mentioned this in a prior video that I believe that the continuation is from last year. So we're just continuing the bull trend overall. But let's kind of look at what happened last week. So big moves took place last week, which was kind of crazy to me. With it being the beginning of the year. But again, we've discussed this where this is new data now, so we can't be restricted to what happened in the past and how the market reacted. It's a new day and age, so more aggressive bull runs and then like greater pullback. So this will be, in all honesty, I believe opportunities of a lifetime if you play your cards right as a trader. If not, you'll be just a person standing on the sidelines watching everybody else, reap the benefits of just participating, right? But anyway, this was the gap that happened on Sunday. We normally expect some form of gaps. If there is no gap on Sunday, I'm super surprised, but normally Sunday opens up with some form, no matter how big or how small. We normally don't expect like big gaps, but if it does, that kind of is like an eye opener right there. So once it gapped up, it continued in this direction. It did like a small pullback, which was in the same day, yeah. So it pulled back slightly and then and went on this bull run for S&P, created this fake resistance right here, shot the market up, came back down to test this area. Now, for me, once we caught this bull run, but I was actually thinking that this could no, 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 we caught this. Yeah. We caught this bull run, but I thought the continuation was going to happen. The market tests this area twice, which I'm used to seeing. So once I saw this area, I was like, "Oh, for sure this is a buy area." You know what I'm saying? So I have no doubt that as far as like the bull run, we're probably about to continue for S&P. It is Sunday going into a new week, you know what I'm saying? So obviously still trade correctly, just like I mentioned last week. But I think we're catching on the momentum more so. Remember, we had stated last week that the market should basically create a straight line on a higher time frame because of all the because of it breaking out of its consolidation and ranging patterns. So this would be the first sign since we came from the bull run where price has ranged, where, it actually is going to break up out of this area. So we just have to see how it's going to respond. But like I said, I'm still bullish as far as like S&P is concerned. It would have to show me something a little bit different. And if we're going off of what we did last year, remember that last year, any sell move that we witnessed in the market was still a buy move to go up. And we said this early in the year after we started, playing on the buy side, which was towards April. So I'm still going off of that philosophy or those principles that, every aggressive move down, this is going to be an opportunity for a buy up. But again, just, look at basic market structure, you know what I'm saying? Like even with the market manipulating, when you step back and look at it on a moderate time frame or a higher time frame, you can overall see that, man, this looks like regular market structure where I don't have to get all like bent out of shape about it. This was a gap here. The market tested that. I mean, it faked out from this position and uh, drove deeper. But again, it's the beginning of the year, you know what I'm saying? So you should expect these type of like manipulation tactics or pauses or slow moves in the market that's going to make you question your own analysis. With indices, you got to be in it and then let it ride. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, just make sure you spot those areas where the market is trying to create structure. And again, easier said than done. You know what I'm saying? But the best bet is to go off of what we've been discussing so far, make it as simple as possible. This is a break of structure. Once we determine some type of pullback, the market may want to pull back to an area over here. If not, continue up. You know what I'm saying? But we'll get that data like as we get more information throughout the week. So last but not least, well, no, the last one would be cryptocurrency because I really want to touch on that. But US 30, same thing. What happened last week? Where's Sunday at? Over here. So this was the move that US 30 made. So if I was ever confused, and once we saw that price broke this area, we caught this buy, and then we also caught this opportunity. We were a little bit higher up as far as like where we were projecting the buy to come to continue. But again, once I saw this pattern, this is why I say get familiar with the currency pair that you're trading. You'll start to see a regular pattern that you've seen over and over so you're blue in the face where you can make sense of like, you know what, no question or doubt. And that goes with, your sentimental analysis and just overbearing confidence. But no question or doubt that I know that this market is moving in this direction just based off this pattern. I stated this, you know what I'm saying? That I was almost 1,000% sure. I would probably say like 999% sure, but like 1,000% sure that this market was buying up just based off of this pattern because we've seen it play out so many times last year with US 30, not to mention with S&P as well. So if you just again keep it simple. Now this previous resistance would do what? We should read it as new support now. I guess let's make it fancy. Or no. We're just annotating it for the viewers. I don't necessarily need this. Sometimes I do annotate stuff for me, but this is for you back home. This is basically resistance. That's why I had it color coded red for sellers. It broke that area, so we should look at this area primarily for what? For buyers currently. Now, the only difference is, or the only thing is, will the market try to pull back here? Based off of this pattern, I don't think so. We could see it come back to this. Well, one, we can identify this consolidation, and we can say that price could possibly come back to that area. What am I doing? Because we know how much the market loves our favorite friend consolidation, right? But until then, until you get any signs of like a pullback, don't try to anticipate it. So just based off this move, we should see the market continue. This is where it'll probably start moving sideways in some shape or fashion. I don't know if it's going to be directly sideways or like sideways going up. Shouldn't be sideways going down, to be honest, unless it's trying to create a pattern, which would be like a bullish flag pattern. But let's not, overthink this. You know what I'm saying? We're just focusing on what's right in front of us. You know what I'm saying? So we got the bull move last week. This was Sunday. Sunday, we consolidated and it slightly gapped, but you can't even see it because it was so small a gap. Consolidated Monday, basically opening bell, probably. Let's see if that was opening bell or if that was before opening bell. I want to say this might have been before opening bell. Yeah, this was 8:30. What did we have 8:30? We had this was Monday. I don't think we had no any news. No, we didn't have any news Monday. This was just regular opening bell doing its thing. So 8:30, the market started getting slightly bullish. And then of course, opening bell shot up. Then that Afternoon, the market basically during post market, it started consolidating, which is like no wonder, right? Especially around Sydney and Tokyo for mainly New York pairs. Like no shit that it started consolidating, right? Shot back up later that evening. So 9:30. Crazy. Another 9:30. Man, we got to start spotting stuff like that. Another 9:30, and where did it turn around at? 9:30 opening bell. So opening bell Wednesday, and that's when we had, I believe, jobless claims because before that, no, we had ISM data, the manufacturer data, because I think Thursday is where we had jobless claims. And then Friday, obviously, we had non-farm payroll. But look at these sequences. Look at these timestamps. 9:30, like pay attention to that. Well, this was 8:30, but 9:30, 9:30 it reversed. What is this over here? 9:30 it bought up again. Like, can't make this stuff up. You got to start looking at it and not being like, I'm crazy or this is just a coincidence and stuff. It's not a coincidence that you're seeing like this happen. Possibly what could happen? The market could turn around again on another 9:30. And this was what? Was this opening bell? Yeah, because I would have been 20. So this was another opening bell. So we got aggressive. I mean, we popped up. It made its bull move at 8:30, but it got aggressive during opening bell. So early opening bell is right here. So where it got bullish again, it was opening bell over here. Where did it get bullish again? Opening bell over here. Like opening bell is propelling the market up. Are y'all seeing that? You know what I'm saying? Besides like this move over here, unless you want to count. Hell, opening bell brought the market. Opening bell for the past two 2 weeks, for the past 2 weeks, has been pushing the market up. That's crazy. Now that we recognize the pattern. But we'll get more into this, you know what I'm saying, on market forecast on Tuesdays. I just wanted to highlight that, but let me look at this real quick. Consolidation, broke out, opening bell. This stuff intrigues me early in the year because this is exactly how we were able to win by establishing like there's a commonality when the market is moving, when it's creating data. And we're seeing every time that it's opening bell, which if you don't know what time opening bell is, you know today it's 9:30. It's 9:30 in the morning, not 9:30 at night because with trading, we look at military time. So we do a 24-hour clock. So 9:30 in the morning, Eastern time, market gets bullish. Now it did like pull back slightly here at 10 a.m., but still overall your position still was at like 9:30 that you could have bought up and just rolled the pullback as price decided to continue pushing up. But wow, look at that sequence right there. Now that we identified this, should we expect price to react every 9:30, like come back and, buy up? Possibly, but don't latch on so much to it. It's just, okay, we recognize it, this pattern. Will this sequence continue or will it try to throw, something to confuse us? But this is like stuff that I like to find, you know what I'm saying? Like this assists me. Overall for the week. But again, this was just cool for us to even identify. I just wanted to spot this out because, again, even with me saying that this is opening bell, I was still going off of simplistic sequences or a simplistic view is why we were even able to discover this. Because the only thing I was concerned about is that price got bullish. If we're just looking at it through a line chart, price got bullish, pulled back slightly, got bullish again, telling us, hey, I'm trying to buy up but I need to confirm that I'm bullish. I'm going to create 2 points of contact, which both just coincidentally, right? Wink, wink. Coincidentally just happen to be at 9:30 a.m. in the morning. I consolidate, I push up on Friday, 9:30 a.m. in the morning. So, basically this was the continuation of an uptrend and this was the validation that we needed. The only thing is price going to try to pull back into this territory to go up or anywhere a little bit lower? We'll see, on the next video of Digital Goats Academy. But that's all I got, traders, because that's what we were going to focus on this. Oh, actually, no, I don't. Bitcoin. That was the last joint. So Bitcoin, again, even with it moving in a like digital format, it's still telling us what we need to see because again, if we just keep it simple, we've been tracking this and basically this well, basically where we trap price, you know what I'm saying? So we have our resistance and price did respect the resistance. We have our support. Price has been currently up from the previous levels of support. So even though this is consolidation down here, or if it doesn't look like support to you because it's not giving you those sharp pushes down, then you just have to get you just have to get better at identifying that yes, this is support because it's maintaining above what we already know to be a previous high because that would be the sequence of what? The beginning of a downtrend, I mean not a downtrend, the beginning of an uptrend. So the fact that it's still it basically tested this high or it consolidated, there's a high somewhere here if we break it down to a smaller time frame. Price got bullish, hit this resistance to respect the structure and here we are at previous resistance that we broke that we can currently, well, we would still say it's resistance, but once it started buying up, which that's what we're looking for, we would end up saying that the market is, I mean, this area is now what? Just like what we saw with US 30. This area is now support. This was resistance now turned into support. So that's what I'm looking at for cryptocurrency. I know we had a little bit of like back and forth with what our expectations were. But right now, just looking at it on the higher time frame from where we've come, it's kind of hard to really gauge like it for the past 2 weeks. But where we've come from, like last year, we made this support. This to me just looks like the previous high. I don't want to create any more, but if you just drag that out, you see how it damn near perfectly touched that. So that would be your continuing sequence of what? Since we're maintaining a trend, an uptrend, because the fact that it tested higher than this previous high is starting the sequence of an uptrend. You start from a lower low, and then you go higher low, lower low, I mean lower high, then higher low, higher high, so forth, so forth. You know what I'm saying? So this would be our swing low that should be actually building us momentum. And again, this sideways movement could happen for quite some time because this is cryptocurrency. It moves very digital. So where we expect to see like a downward movement or upward movement in foreign exchange, cryptocurrency kind of, moves sideways to establish its like turnaround point and then, burst up or down. So, but what we're expecting is for the market to continue buying up from this specific area, possibly, a push down lower, but as long as it doesn't like try to return all the way back down here, we're still looking at the trend to continue. So that's basically what just happened last week. The market just sold. Same thing with no, not the same thing with indices, but just almost identical to GBP USD. So the market just sold off once we hit this resistance that we were looking at. Hold on, let me see. 96.89. So yeah, that just looks like the test of a previous high, which again, we're treating as support. And we should look at this market to start getting bullish somewhere in the next 2 months, you know what I'm saying? But Like I said, that's all I got, traders. That's what we're looking at for this week. We might touch on another currency pair like in the middle of the week, but also we are going live this week. So make sure you tune in to Digital Goats live on YouTube this week because we're going to be doing one of our trading segments there. I haven't figured out which one, but you'll see obviously when you see me live on YouTube. But again, that's all I got. It's Sunday. We're still waiting on the market to open up at 5 p.m. So no rush. We're just getting in preparation. But I hope everybody has a successful trading week. You know what I'm saying? Try not to get manipulated. Remember, it's the beginning of the year, so just take your money and then worry about like holding the trends later on, as we get like closer into Q3. But like I said, that's all I got. I'm Antoine Farrar as always. Have a successful trading week. Peace.